I think quite a few people already joined, and we can start because we have 45 minutes, and I hope it's going to be enough because it's quite an extensive topic we are going to discuss today. But let me start by first introducing us. So my name is Ruben, founder of Oneteam. For those who don't know, I started Oneteam about 10 years ago when I was working on the front line in retail and in hospitality, and saw from that perspective how outdated the employee experience is, how outdated all the tools were that companies were using to connect with their workers, and that the employee engagement was non-existent. That's how the idea for Oneteam started, and this whole journey of creating a solution for that problem. And today with me is Luc van Bussel. He's the CEO and Chief Hospitality at the One Meeting company. He believes that people will always want to meet each other, emphasizing that real meetings are a human endeavor. And as an ambassador of hospitality, Luc inspires companies and organizations about the power of human connection, particularly in the context of hospitality and the digital AI revolution. And as the CEO of the One Meeting company, he helps organizations in finding, comparing, and booking meeting venues for real gatherings. So with that being said, let's jump over to what we are going to discuss today. We'll start by first discussing the challenges with regards to frontline teams, because that's what we're focused on, is really the frontline workers, the 80% of the global workforce. And then we're going to talk about what Luc calls the hospitality-based leadership. We're going to start with the definition, the benefits afterwards, and then the 7 steps to build a better culture. And then afterwards, we also have time for a Q&A. So why are we going to discuss this today? Why is this important? Why are people joining this webinar? I would say it mainly has to do with that frontline or so-called deskless workers. A lot of them are considering to switch jobs. A lot of companies also have a very high employee turnover. And it's just very, very difficult for a company to build a cohesive culture, a strong culture in general, but especially when it comes to frontline workers who are spread out among a lot of different locations, et cetera, et cetera. We'll discuss those challenges soon. But first, I have a question for Luc. Why is company culture important?
Yeah, I always say in my presentations, it's like the oxygen in the atmosphere. I mean, you don't see it, but it's there. And if it wouldn't be there, we all would die. So culture is, let's say, the emotional bonding between all of the members in the community. And if you put it very practical, culture is what you get if you don't watch. Because if you are not watching your frontline workers, or if you're not watching or have control over people working remote, what they then do is defined by their culture.
Yes.
That's more or less the importance of culture. So it keeps the community together. It's in all religions, it is exactly the same, and in the company culture, in the company philosophy, it's exactly the same. So keeping people together on the same beliefs, the same thrives, the same values, and making sure that they feel really at home in that perspective.
Yes. And is it what does it translate to? Is it mostly like keeping people in the company, lowering turnover, or are there also other things that are important with regards to company culture?
That's also a good question. I always say it's the human rights. So it's our obligation to make sure that an individual that comes into our company is being respected as a human being and has human rights. Therefore, we have the Human Rights Declaration also on our website. So I believe it's our obligation to make sure that this individual that comes into your company, your organization, your community, becomes the best version of him or herself. And that's by creating the right atmosphere, the right culture, the right energy, the right inspiration. And if it's not just only for the employee itself, it's also good for the results. Because if the team works together cohesively, productively, efficiently, then of course also the result count better. It's like a football team. The same team with one coach doesn't play the final, and with another coach they play the final. So,
Yeah.
but it's the individual right to be well served and to well be treated with respect, trust, confidence, and the result is becoming the best version of yourself in a productive environment.
Yeah. Yeah, and probably also in the context of hospitality organizations, but also we talk to a lot of retail organizations and other types that are having frontline employees. A lot of them are customer facing and spread out among a lot of different locations. And it's important to have like a cohesive culture, one culture that all these employees identify with, regardless in what location they're working, so that also customers will feel the power of that culture and the consistency of that culture. And we can both probably think about some companies where we feel that particularly strong. I think one time when we were talking about this, you mentioned Rituals, which is just a company with a very strong culture in all of their locations. What you feel as a customer, what you value as a customer, and therefore also has quite a big impact on the revenue and growth as well.
So. Yeah, they can only expose the inspiration and the energy of the brand and the concept and the organization if they are themselves, of course, are very deep into it. And that's, I think, the whole issue of hospitality-based leadership.
Yeah, exactly. So, right, now we discussed why it's important. And every company, also our company, culture is important, like for any organization. And maybe we have the luxury that most of the times we are all sitting together in one office. It's easier to create that culture. But with regards to the deskless workforce or the frontline workforce, they are spread out among so many locations. Yesterday, we actually had a meeting with a company that has 115 different locations, 6,000 people. Then it's insanely difficult to create a strong culture. I mean, the management wants to, but they cannot possibly visit all 115 locations every day or every week or even every year, maybe. And also, we maybe have people that are sitting behind their computer, so we are all the time online with each other. We are communicating on Microsoft Teams or Slack. Then it's also easier. But the frontline people, they're not even sitting behind their computer. They are out there in the field helping customers. So you're not physically with them, digitally neither. So that makes it even more difficult. And therefore we see that there's almost no engagement at these types of companies, maybe with their direct team, their direct manager, but not most times not with the company as a whole. And you just have a lot of different cultures in each different location. And it is just resulting in a lot of different things like high employee turnover and the other things that we just discussed. So that is the thing that we want to keep in our mind when we're talking through the rest of this webinar, really with regards to frontline workers. And these are the challenges that are just really, really big. So let's talk about hospitality-based leadership. I didn't hear about it before until I met you. So maybe quite a few people that are here didn't hear about it as well. So please tell us, Luc, what is hospitality-based leadership?
Yeah, the definition is now on the display. But if I would let's say make it practical, make it even more simple as it has been said there. It's creating a secured base platform, you could say, for employees to become part of your organization. I would say that's the management talk. That's the real consultant management talk. How I also would put it in a brochure on a website and so on. If you would ask me in a conversation with a beer added to it, I would say it's making sure that you undergo a transformation from a number-based leadership to a membership-based leadership. So you could say up to now, or up to a couple of years ago, you could say employees were numbers in a business model, numbers in a concept, numbers in a production model. There were, let's say, numbers in a planning for a service or a creation of a product or a concept. That's okay, but what lies over it today is the community model, the social model, where they become not just part of a production and service level, but also part of a community. So they become a member. And becoming a member is becoming a guest in an environment where you be treated differently than in a production process, where you need to function. And in a social community model, you can be in the first place yourself, and also making sure that your own development, your own well-being, your own mental well-being, and also your ambitions and your inspiration can be shared with the other people in the community. And creating a community needs hospitality-based leadership, because you're going to treat, in this particular case, the employee, but also the other stakeholders like guests, clients, suppliers, partners, the accountant, the bank, as the 5-star guests of your hotel. So my presentations for large corporations, large companies, is always a hotel presentation. I have a presentation next week. I will transform the head office into a hotel. I will not mention the name, but we call it then the 5-star hotel, and then we put the name of the company under it, and we invite all their stakeholders, and we will treat them like guests in a 5-star deluxe hotel in Dubai.
Wow.
And then you will observe. We have observers that then see what happens if you treat your employees, in this particular case, frontline workers, as guests. And why we do that? Because we want to make them part of the community. And we have an urge in it, because there is a third level apart from the community level, the social level. It's the impact level. So we came from functional level, we go to community level, and we want to reach the impact level, so that we as a company, as a group, have an impact on society and the planet. And to get there, this second phase is highly important. And hospitality is the method. If we would explain then how on earth are we going to do this with 6,000 employees? Now, become a hotel. And what is a hotel? Well, a hotel is a hotel-centered leadership-based organization. And that's what we preach, that's what we teach, and that's how I inspire leaders on the boardroom level to change their, at least hope to try to change their attitude. And the attitude change, the transformation is from numbers to members, and from functional models to social models.
Yeah. All right, clear. And I really like what you said, that most companies are like sort of one-dimensional, just about numbers and the business model, but they have to come first two-dimensional and really focus on the human aspect as well of their employees, and that it's just so important.
Yeah, and you could say, is that an option, or is that an obligation? Now, the European, and I think more than only the European regulation on ESG also requires, first of all, the big companies, and then the mid, and then the small companies to become ESG proof.
Yeah.
Now, the S in the middle is where you need hospitality-centered leadership for.
Yeah. And I think you also mentioned once that you helped quite a few companies become a great place to work. You yourself are a great place to work. And I think that's just a great thing to have as a company in order to get indeed the SDG qualified, right?
Yeah, if you dare to challenge your organization with the Great Place to Work Trust Index audit, we had 100% participation of all our employees, and we scored a 94% on the Trust Index. So we are part of the, let's say, the best workplaces. But that's the challenge. Measure on the social values that are set by their international audit, to see where you are, and then check if you need hospitality leadership or not.
Yeah. All right. So now we've talked about the definition of hospitality-based leadership. I think and we also touched a little bit already on the benefits of it, but just to repeat it one more time, it's the stronger company culture, the increased engagement, and especially improved talent retention, because just so many companies that we talk to, at least, they're just having too much employee turnover, and they just cannot replace all of these people, because there's just a shortage of people that are out there, but also that are out there and that are actually good at what they are doing. So because it's so difficult, maybe some of them are lowering their standards, and it's just like a vicious cycle that they are in, and you cannot really stop it until you really get good at creating a strong culture, a great employee experience, and just hospitality-based leadership indeed. So I think people got it. I hope. I mean, we'll see at the end with the Q&A, but I think they will understand it even better now. We're going to talk about the 7 steps to get to hospitality-based leadership, and I think they all start with an A, right? Each step.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I had to translate them into English because my Dutch presentation is fine in Belgium and in Holland, but of course it's not applicable in the other countries.
Yeah.
And I did some small adaptations to the magic words that I have in Dutch. But to make the magic, I all found that my words, which were unique words in Dutch, have a word with an A in front, and that's probably not just by coincidence, because yeah, everything starts with an A in life. So. How to become a triple A.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and perhaps
all the good things.
an introduction to the 7 steps. My whole presentation, when I do this in a masterclass for 3 hours with C-level members or even with frontline workers, it's the common understanding that excellent service, hospitality, doesn't come from coincidence. It's a highly disciplined formula of 7 steps to make someone desire you back again. So what is the same thing that we all want in life, in business life, and even in private life? If my wife goes out of the door in the morning, my only desire is that she comes back in the evening. So in business, it's the same. So when I get an employee in and he goes home in the evening, my only desire is that he comes back in the morning. The guest that goes into a restaurant, my only hope is that when he leaves, he will come back somewhere in time. So the business model and even the private social model is based on the desire to come back. That's why we have the Net Promoter Score. So the question is how to create a desire that people come back. And that the only thing that does it in the mindset of guests, clients, employees, is the desire to come back. It's also an addiction. It's also an A. So if it's in the right part of your brain, then the addiction says I want to go back to this place for holiday. I want to go back to this place for having a drink, for that place to having a meal. And I want to go back in the morning to my company because I love it. Now, that's a mindset that needs to be created. And if you think, I always say to organizations, if you think that comes from an HR program, or it comes from, let's say, doing a little bit of onboarding, and to give them let's say a manual where they had to read all the regulations of the company, forget it. So it needs 7 steps to create a mindset of desire, to repeat intention. And the first step is anticipation. So if you would like to go to the 7 steps, then I could start if you like.
Yeah, and I just wanted to touch on that part that I think are just very important about desire. Indeed, it's just so important because nowadays, especially the younger generations, first of all, they are a little bit more, maybe I don't know what the right word is, but a bit more entitled, and they have a lot of choice for work. So it's not like you are the only employer in town and it's their only way to make money. They have a lot of choice, and you want them indeed to keep coming back, not just to work, but also to do like great work, right? To really go the extra mile.
Yeah, and the new generation asks for new leadership. And as in the past, we went back to work because we felt obliged from our culture of being, let's say, good followers of, let's say, the culture that we had in their days. But today, the Gen Zs, if they don't feel the desire of coming back, they will not come back.
Yeah.
So they ask us more or less indirectly and very directly, create an environment where I desire every day to come back.
Yeah, and that's difficult, but if it's a skill like desire, neutral, there are also quite a few companies that are on the opposite, that are like the opposite of desire, that they just repel people. And it used to work for them because, again, other generations, maybe not that many other job opportunities. But now if you're on that side of the scale, like you have 50%, 60% a year
I mean,
turnover probably.
the major talents went to the big corporations 20 years ago, and the big talents today become an influencer, an entrepreneur, or a YouTuber, and they don't even go to high school. So,
Yeah.
so they have a complete different mindset. We've spoiled them so much in let's say in the way we raise them. They are open for let's say all the different elements that will trigger them, motivate them, inspire them. So we need to also now give the answer. So if we spoil them, now we need to comfort them.
Yeah. I mean, they value life maybe in a different way. They don't feel, I mean, and I'm close to that generation, of course. I think I'm officially not Gen Z, but I'm close to it.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people, of course, from that generation. They just don't have time anymore to work shit jobs. If it's a shit job and a shit company, sorry for my language, they don't have time for that. They don't want to waste their life on that, so they go
Yep.
away. So indeed,
Yeah.
if you're on that side of the scale, you actually repel people. You're gonna have a very hard time,
Yeah, and I
especially
think
to keep top talents.
yeah, and if you go back to the three-dimensional approach on how to vision the let's say the employee joining your company, if you keep staying in the functional level of leadership,
Yeah.
and you see it as a function that you are looking for in an advertisement for a vacancy, you will write a lot of stuff, boring stuff about what the job is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody that is looking for, let's say, inspiration will get warm feelings on that. So that's why if you go to the second level, creating a community,
Mm-hmm.
the storyline of your advertisement for a vacancy starts with the vision, mission of your movement. And if it doesn't come from the CEO, they don't believe you. Because a movement has a leader. And the leader shows the way of the movement. And you ask him in the advertisement to join the movement. And by the way, your function in the company operationally, and then you have only 5 lines over, it's enough.
Yeah.
We will tell you when you are here.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like having a first date when you are 16, 17, 18, in this particular case, in my case, with a girl, and you start giving all the functions that she needs to do. Huh?
Yeah.
How is that going to attract and create desire?
Is that me? I think. Did we lose Luc? All right. Maybe some internet issues, and I hope you will come back soon. Let's see. Let me get in touch with him, because we're of course very curious what these 7 steps, these 7 A's are about. Like you said, all the good things start with an A. So we actually, he left at moment suprême. There he is. We were afraid we lost you for a moment. We did actually.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. No idea.
But the most important thing is you're back, and it's a good moment to actually start with the 7 A's. So let's start with the first one.
Yeah, first of all, the 7 steps, it's not just at random 7 steps. You need to follow them highly disciplined. There's no way of taking one out, taking one in, changing them, changing the following up. This is the course to create desire. I mean, I learned this when I was 16. I only thought of it again when I was 40, that it also would work in business to create desire. And anticipation is like antipasta. So anticipation means, anti means pre, P-R-E, pre, arrival. So it's the pre-arrival ceremony that you create so that people that come to your company are really, really looking forward to come to the first day to your company.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts, of course, with, let's say, the announcement and the advertisement on the vacancy. And if it doesn't read like join the movement, join our vision, join our common goal, join our values, then of course this job description, first of all, it should be an invitation. It should be an invitation to a 5-star menu, banquet, festival. So if you look at the announcement, how to attract the right people, having that culture also intrinsically for working in a warm culture company, the advertisement should be a poem. It should be an invitation. You should anticipate, start creating the emotion. For example, what we would do if someone gets a job at the Oneteam company and we are at the point of sending them the contract. We will send the contract in a festive envelope filled with confetti. It's perfumed, and we will deliver it to the door of the employee. And it reads with a letter from myself as a poem, and that says, "We are so lucky. We have so much respect that you come to us and you're not going to the competition. And we will never forget that you have chosen for us." And I mean, I get goosebumps when I'm telling you this now. So we try to imagine how important it is that someone chooses for you. In private, it's important, and in business as well. So how to create that, and we have around 30 to 40 rituals as highly disciplined rituals that we manage and we organize when people are in the pre-arrival phase. So they are these waiting these weeks before they arrive, and we have a lot of communication going on, a lot of festivities. So a week before arrival, they get another attention, and we prepare their let's say their arrival. It's just like every concert. If you know a concert is coming ahead in a couple of months, they're going to try to warm you up, because if you're coming into a concert with no emotion at all, it's very hard for the band to get you to applause. So it's the warming up of people coming to the community.
Yes.
And our whole vision is summarized by saying, join the family. And in the period before you come, we are going to introduce ourselves as the family you are coming into. That's not something we're going to do if you are here. We already start by introducing ourselves before you come.
Yeah. So really the pre-boarding phase, try to make it as special as possible to create that anticipation. Indeed. Yeah. So
it's 50% of let's say the success of the first week. On arrival day, on the onboarding, is the emotion that they come in with the first day, and that's created by an anticipation program based on several rituals, and it creates a looking forward energy.
Yes. All right, clear. So that's the first day. I'm just looking at the time. I think we can talk a little bit longer about anticipation, but we also have to look at the time. We have 6 more steps to go. So first one, anticipation. The second one is arrival.
I will do this shorter. So the arrival is the first day. To put it practical, it's the warm welcome with or without a band. We always go outside. We sing a song. We have a lot of confetti that day. It's 2 or 3 confetti bombs that we shoot off in the office. We have flowers. We have a song. We have a buddy that is standing ready to buddy someone the first day and the first week. And this whole arrival. So let's say Peter is the new employee. It's the week of Peter. This whole week, they have an introduction program. They talk to every person individually in a 4 weeks program. But the arrival day is the day that hospitality starts. So make sure they are looking forward. And the day they pass the door, I mean, they should come into a ceremony.
Yeah. I like that word ceremony indeed, like some kind of company ceremony that you feel like, what is happening? Because this is, of course, super unique. Almost no company does that. So it really helps you to stand out and to feel like you're joining something, like an actual thought through culture, right?
Yeah, what we like to do is if someone leaves, like let's say an employee still, of course people go to another company, then we are sometimes sending the arrival package to the other company, saying, well, Peter is coming to your company. Here is the arrival package, because probably you don't have one, but they are used to it because that's what we did. So it's also a lot of guerrilla marketing in it, of course. But I mean, this is the moment of truth. If you have step 1 and step 2, if you missed it, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
All right. So 1 and 2, and then the third one is the acquaintance.
Yeah, I mean, this is in all audits that we do, this is going wrong in many cases. So that means the company, when someone is coming in, and now we are in the connection phase. So we have the contact phase, step 1 and 2. This is the connecting phase. We start connecting. It's just like this first date, I always say. So if I'm sitting across my girlfriend and I start talking about myself, and talking about myself, that's what companies do. What we do is we only ask questions the first week. So in the first week of a new employee onboarding in the Oneteam company, we only ask questions about the specific person as a person, and to get a real good picture on who they are, what they need, what they want, what is making them happy, what support they could get. We try to discipline ourselves not to send information, but to request, to ask. So active listening is what it's called in management terms. And what it does with the brain, that's our scientific research telling us, is that it creates interest. So all of a sudden this employee thinks, oh my God, they are really interested. It was a ceremony to come in, but now they are really interested in who I am. And that makes them part of the community, because if you're part of the functional model, you don't need to know what someone is all about. But if you're becoming part of the social environment, we need to know who you are. Why? You are part of the family, brothers and sisters. So, hey, bro, who are you? And that's the first week. And after the first week, they are part of the family. So then the introduction is, let's say, you could say more or less for 80%, 90% finished.
Yes.
So it's asking questions and creating interest.
Yes. Super important. When I had my first job, they didn't have this at all. It felt like I was sort of anonymous. Here's your working clothes, go work there. And I maybe met one other person at that company. I just was doing my job. It was in a supermarket, so everyone was working their own aisle. So you almost didn't have any contact with anyone. And I just left after a few weeks, and I think no one even noticed.
I mean,
sad story.
If you're telling it like this, if they would giving you a headphone, that would not be a problem there, because they're not talking to you anyway.
Yes, and also this connection with the rest of the company is so important for you to stay, because I think I once read a research that actually in Dutch we have this very special word called gezelligheid. To translate it to English is just like having a good time, sort of. Is just so important, and one of the most important things for people.
Kameraadschap, it's what they call it at Great Place to Work. And I'm very proud. We score 100% on kameraadschap. So how to create a community when you don't know who someone is? I mean,
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And we actually therefore created a special feature actually in our platform where a new employee gets a task to introduce themselves. Like they can write something about themselves, and there's a message posted to everyone working in that location. Like, hey, Ruben, he's new, and everyone can give him a high five, can comment. And actually, I yesterday heard a story about someone that went through that experience and saw all the high fives he was getting, all the nice comments of people introducing themselves, asking questions. He felt so special, and he's telling everyone about it. And I'm sure he will not leave that company for quite a long time. So it's super important.
They should become heroes. And the only reason commercially to make them heroes is that if they are heroes, their productivity is sky high. And if you are not watching, they're very loyal. So making them heroes is what it's all about.
Exactly. Acquaintance. All right. Acknowledgement.
Yeah. Acknowledgement is the reaction. So if you ask all these questions, what they don't see is that we write everything down. So we know what they said to us. So let's say they have children, one child is perhaps have some struggles or whatever. We write it down in a special family book. Nobody knows. But we try to give answers to their questions. So acknowledgement means, yes, we've heard you, and now we're going to do something about it. So we call it the well-doers. In Dutch, it's the well-doeners. That's the people that they really ask these questions so that they could really do and make the difference in their behavior and their actions. It's like in sales. If you ask a lot of questions to the customer, you can make a real good offer. And this is the offer. So we listen to make the acknowledgement and let's say our comforting to the employees.
All right. All right. So
Gives
this is
a
the
focus.
reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the focus that you get from asking the right questions. And of course, comforting also means it's not just when they have their birthday that we have a poster for everyone, we have a song for everyone, we have flowers for everyone, but it's also the very, very small things. And the lesson here is it's the small things that make the big difference. So if you listen carefully that someone, let's say, has a difficult time with something in his private life and you can touch on that, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also really starts from having people or having managers that care. I mean, that's the basis of it all.
If
So
you
and
don't care,
yeah.
if you don't care, you don't need to ask these questions. It makes it probably they would say that makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I mean, a company isn't blue anymore. A company is red these days.
Yes. All right. We have to go a little bit to the next one. I think we have 5 minutes left, so sure we're gonna go over time, but there's just so many valuable things that I hope people find valuable. For me it's already very valuable to talk about these things. So we might go a little over time. I hope people can stay. If not, this is recorded. Afterwards, you can watch the rest if you want to. But let's continue to the next one. 5, appreciation.
Yeah, appreciation. I mean, 5 and 6 is the Champions League. That's where the failure is. If you really want to do hospitality-centered leadership, you want to make a difference, remember this. If I ask in a restaurant for a Coca-Cola, and I get one, I will not call my wife at home and say, you never believe this. I just ordered a Coke and I will get a Coke. Wow. That will never happen. It only happens when you do something which is not requested, you're not asked for. So if you exceed service by exceeding the expectation with the real experience, you give value. A present, a cadeau, a present is a value that you give. You give value to someone. And the longest list of rituals that we have is the surprise list. So we call it the surprise list because we try to find the moments to appreciate someone for his action, his behavior, his results, whatever. That's where the brain of the other side says, wow, they really like me.
Yeah.
They were interested. That's why they asked questions. They promised that they would act. That's what they did. And now I can feel on their presence, on their appreciation, that they really like me, because otherwise, why would they give me appreciation? And that's where the desire stage starts with. This is stage 1 of desire. And stage 2 is the next step. If you go to 6, and it's if you keep on adding surprises, surprisingly good, then someone feels admired. So 5 and 6 are more or less 1, because if you can give someone a present one time, one time. Admiration comes from giving presents on a very, let's say, good basis and a good repetition. And the admiration of being surprised, so that your expectation is always exceeded by the experience, then admiration starts. And the unfortunate thing for the employee is that now he is addicted, because now the bonding is complete. So in private life, if you come to this stage when you are on a date, a week later, the girl would say, I like to see you again. So that's what, of course, the whole issue is, the whole focus is all about. I mean, and the difficulty here is creativity and surprisingly doing things that are not planned, not in processes. And if you don't have let's say, a secure-based organization, secure-based leadership, people don't dare to do very surprisingly not planned, foolish, creative things. And that's where we feel, if we come in to scan the culture, if the freedom to be surprisingly good and to admire people, if it's not there, then we will take the conclusion already that it's not possible to create desire.
Yeah. Yes. And I mean, the top management of a company of, for example, a large hotel chain that we talked to yesterday, they might have this, they understand this. They're like, yes, I want this. But they're eventually dependent on all these, like, well, in their case, 115 hotel managers to be able to do that. And I also hear a lot of companies lately are hiring more, like really good people managers, that is becoming more and more and more important, instead of just managing the bottom line. Is also becoming like really good people managers. But you can also train them. You can say, this is very important to us as a company, and also convince them that this is important. Maybe they already think this is important, but they didn't feel supported in doing these things, because eventually you do probably need to have some kind of process that you allow managers to have a certain budget, maybe every month, and say, hey, this is really important. And also have the region managers talking to the managers, talking, okay, what did you do this month? For the employees, what did you do? Right? Like how can they support their managers on the front lines to have this type of behavior?
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between the money and the action.
Mm-hmm.
So my people don't even have a big budget to do these things, but the things they do are very crazy, very crazy. So let's give me an example. We have a customer service department, and an employee has his birthday, and they decided to ask an orchestra, a fanfare, I don't know how you call it in English, but an orchestra, to join them to go to the central station, to go to the train where the employee comes out on that day, and they all start singing, screaming, shouting. We have the central station on the other side of the street, on the head office. Yeah. So they cross the street, and we come out as the whole group to join that, and then we make this whole crazy dance. I mean, what do you think that this employee is telling the coming years, the coming 10 years, 20 years, when they ask, did you ever work for a company that did something surprisingly good? I mean, and that's just an example. So the idea came of someone to go with an orchestra to the central station and to sing happy birthday when the employee comes out of the train. And then we say, yes, and then we put the work down and we all go outside. I mean, we don't look at, is there a process that says, can we do this, can we do this, can we do this? Of course not. Of course not. And let's give you the other example to make sure that you get a culture like this. In the first week of a new employee, they can't name me Luc, L-U-C, that's my name. They can't say that. I'm Lucky. So I'm L-U-C-Q-U. So I'm Mr. Lucky. Yeah. And I tell them I'm lucky this week. And then they say, why? Because you join our company. So that's why you can call me Lucky. I'm the head of the bar. Of the bar? Yeah, I'm the
I think we lost him. And we are back. Mr. Lucky is back.
Yeah, I'm back. So that's making sure that you are crazy enough as a leader.
Yeah.
Become crazy. Yeah.
Crazy, exactly. All right, so let's go to the final step of attraction.
Yeah, so the seventh step is not even a step, it's the result. So when you do these 6 steps, it's the contact phase, step 1 and 2, the connecting phase, step 3 and 4, and then the 5 and 6 is the relationship. If you want to get into a relationship, then you need to surprise and keep on surprising to be the one who is admiring the heroes of his company. And it would lead to attraction. And attraction is the other word for desire, but it's an A word. So here is the desire. You are back home in the evening after you spent the day at work, and you're sitting on the couch, you're watching television, and you think, I would rather be at work. So that's the attraction.
That is like the highest level.
I'm kidding a little bit, but if they think of the company when they're at home, they should feel very happy.
Yeah.
And attraction means, you don't have to tell them that they need to come back. they have this instant emotional reflection that brings them back to the company.
Yeah.
I have my drink every night in the center of Hilversum at the same place, Madden's. I can't resist. I have this attraction to go to Madden's every night, and I only drink one drink. And
Okay.
now I know the whole menu now, but nevertheless, and it's
Yeah.
an addiction. It's an attraction. An attraction and addiction are very close family.
Yeah. Amazing example. All right. I think, and also companies that are having this like yours is they don't have, I guess, any problem with recruitment or employee turnover or performance and all the good stuff, right? So if you do good things will happen.
Yeah. Plus, if let's say you are a family and you adopt a new child, and you are the father of the family, in my particular case, then, and you would say at this first day of arrival, I'm not there. Huh? I'm not there. You know, and I'm not going to shake hands the first week.
Yeah.
Huh? So if you are the CEO of a company and you have no time to welcome a new employee,
Yeah.
how does that work?
Yes.
It
And this is
doesn't work.
also something we discussed before, not during this call, but another one is that we or you mentioned the story about your son, right? Joining a new company
Yeah.
where he in the first week or before even his first day, he met like a super high level person of the company that organized like a meeting
Yeah. I
with
mean,
all new joiners.
he was flabbergasted. So I don't know if I can tell the name of the company. If you would like, I can call the company, but
Yeah.
it's Suit Supply, and yeah, he's just he's 20, he's a student, and he gets a job for 3 days a week in a good contract, good conditions, and then all of a sudden he needs to have 3 interviews through digital meetings with the store manager, a European manager, and an HR culture manager, and he couldn't believe it that he, as a student, and the way they were talking to him, I mean, I was listening how they were doing it
Yeah.
in the back front. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, he went to he went to the store the first day, and he thought he was the king. I mean, I think I'm the new manager. He said that's what I feel. So he is in sales support. But he said
Yeah.
he's coming back. He works 3 days a week. He comes back and he says, "Well, I still feel as the manager."
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's super special, and he will also probably not leave that company. One, because he really likes it, but also he sort of cannot let them down. Now they gave him all this attention. He feels important. He feels
Yeah, and
valued. Like he cannot
yeah,
let them down.
and I mean, if I would only have 2 minutes to explain, or 1 minute, I would say the essence is, if you look what happens to him and the story that I was trying to tell in my 7 steps, it's 2 things. First of all, this company is nuts. I mean, the owner is crazy. I mean, in a positive sense. Yeah, he is really fun guy, just like our Peter Zwart from Coolblue. They are friends with their people, so they're a little bit crazy. And secondly, they are highly disciplined,
Yeah.
which creates culture. Because if you have a Bible and you say we don't live through the disciplines of the Bible, you don't have any culture. So disciplined, but they don't feel the discipline because they are crazy. I mean, positively happy crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, we are already 6-7 minutes past time, so let's go to the roundup phase and have a Q&A if people have questions as well. So, I mean, to first round up in 1 minute, what is the key thing that you want people to take away? Like, what is it that you want them to tell their colleagues in 1 minute about this webinar, about your philosophy?
There's only one in every religion on this planet, and in every environment where people work together, there's only one golden rule. It's also called the golden rule. It's treat the other like you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Point.
So simple.
Point.
It's simple, but it's not easy
That's the
for
difficult.
companies. Yes.
I always wonder why someone is rude to me in service, because if she or he would be in my shoes, they would feel it, and still they do it.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's all
All
about
right.
empathy. It's all about so the management consultancy word is empathy. It's
Yeah.
we are in a age of empathy as a vaccine against AI, digital revolution, and so on.
Exactly. People crave human connection, especially at work as well. All right. I think
And,
this was
and
very valuable.
of course, if you need inspiration, if you need a wake-up call, if you need a crazy story, you can always ask me to have
Yes.
10 minutes with the company, and perhaps we can make a change.
Yes. And I think you also once mentioned to me that you're doing some kind of audits as well.
Yeah.
And yes, so I think on LinkedIn, if you go to our LinkedIn event, you will see Luc van Bussel as well. Please add him on LinkedIn. I want to thank you for your time, and let's see if there are any questions in the Q&A. I think people can send a chat message.
Ruben, can I
Let's.
also tell that we are very pleased with Oneteam? And
Yes.
it's not scripted. You haven't paid for this commercial, but we are very, very pleased because what we see is now that we are digitalized in the communication with our employees, we have more time to go crazy.
Yes, and actually, as a company, we are really focused on frontline workers. You don't have frontline workers, so that's also very, very
Yeah.
special that you are using Oneteam really
Yeah.
well. So thank you for that. That's what we're doing it for. So all right, thank you so much. And I think there are no questions. I think we answered every question and more. So thanks a lot. This is recorded. We will also add this on YouTube, so you can forward it to colleagues, and this will be forever available. This knowledge to people everywhere around the world. So thank you a lot for this, for your time, for the inspiration, and again, add Luc on LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye bye.